best scary movies are the ones where I know something is going to happen. But the music and the anticipation heighten it. I know something will happen. I believe something will happen. You know what I'm talking about. It's the haunting orchestra playing music in the background. Doo-doo, doo-doo, as a hapless hero tries to swim to shore, with a shark's fin poking through the surface in the background. We know we can anticipate what might be happening. Sometimes knowing too much makes it worse. A few years ago, I completed my first marathon. It took me 20 weeks to prepare for. And every time I trained, one of the things that I kept thinking about was hitting that wall. One of my friends who ran competitively in college said, DJ, when it comes to running 26.2 miles, it's not a matter of if you hit a wall and want to give up, it's a matter of when. I remember the exact moment I hit my wall. It was 23 miles into the marathon, and I was thinking at that time that I had never run this far before. And then, all at once, a person 10 meters in front of me collapsed. A couple of minutes later, another person collapsed. And I remember my goal went from my dream of making a certain time to simply getting one foot in front of another. Left foot, right foot. For the next couple of miles, that's pretty much all I could focus on. It wasn't if the wall would come, but when. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. I wonder if taking the next step is exactly what the Hebrew people were called to do in this session of Disciple Fast Track. The Hebrew people were quick out of the gates after escaping the plagues. Each step along their journey to the promised land was both dangerous and unknown. When I was running the marathon after mile 23, I wanted to give up. I'm sure glad you couldn't hear all the complaining and excuses that were in my mind those last few miles. I know God did because I lobbed more than a few prayers God's way. I knew the end would come sooner or later. It's just that when the road was long and hard, when our bodies begin to ache and we see others stumbling, doubt creeps in. I believe that through the practice of spiritual disciplines, we are able to hone our physical and spiritual selves into a place of calibrating our whole selves with God's calling. If you've ever played a musical instrument or a sport, you probably remember the hundreds of hours of practice to train your muscles to respond correctly at just the right time. I wonder if that's how we can tune our spiritual selves as we listen, discern, and respond to God's call. We practice our faith in the valleys as well as the mountains to become faithful followers of Jesus. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Consider what it meant for the Hebrew people when they were at Sinai. How did their struggles and complaints affect their relationship with God? In what ways did it impact their Exodus story? How are you being called to take the next step in your faith life today? Can you see the whole staircase? What are some of the ways you can keep one foot moving in front of another?